Confidence is not something you have since birth. It's not something you're handed from fate, not some magical attribute that some people just have. Confidence is built, it's created, it's reinforced every single day through what you do, what you choose, and most importantly, your mindset. Wherever you look, you will find people who appear to be unshakable, courageous, and willing to take on whatever happens their way. But behind every moment of courage lies a process, moments of fear, times of doubt, and a decision to rise above fear, instead of letting fear conquer them and dictate their destiny. This audiobook is not fake it till you make it. It's about bringing the power you already have within you to the surface. It's about reprogramming your mind, conditioning your brain, and living a life where confidence does not ebb and flow, but is who you are. By listening each day and applying the strategies you'll discover here, you can build a confidence that doesn't break down in pressure, that doesn't vanish when challenged, and that doesn't depend on other people's approval. Healthy confidence is stable, peaceful, and unbreakable. That's what this guidebook is all about. Chapter 1. Getting to know the foundations of confidence. To build confidence that lasts, you first need to be certain of exactly what it is, and what it isn't. Most people get confidence mixed up with arrogance, loudness, or assertiveness. They think that the person most confident in the room is always going to be the one talking the loudest, shouting the loudest, or asking for the most attention. But actually, real confidence is so much quieter. Confidence is the inner certainty that you can handle whatever life throws at you. It's not about knowing everything. It's not about never failing. It's about trusting that even if things go wrong, you will figure it out. The two sides of confidence. Confidence has two major sides, internal and external. Internal confidence is your personal belief in yourself. The voice within your mind that says to you, I can do this. It's built on your self-esteem, your values, and your sense of worth. External confidence is the way you show yourself to the world. It's the way you talk, walk, and interact with other individuals. It's the impression you give when others first meet you. In order to grow long-term, you need both. Internal confidence, without any outside showing, makes you invisible. Outside confidence, without internal belief, makes you a phony. When you link the two, you are genuine. The role of fear in confidence. Everybody thinks that fear is the reverse of confidence. It's not. Fear will never go away entirely. The secret isn't eliminating fear. It's learning how to act despite it. Take public speaking, for example. The most common phobia. Even the best speakers feel nervous right before they walk on stage. It's not that they lack fear. What sets them apart from others is stepping forward in spite of it. Confidence is built in the exact spots where fear seems to overtake them. The myth of instant confidence. Confidence doesn't happen overnight. You don't read a quote, attend a seminar, or repeat affirmations one time, and suddenly, you're a brave, unshakable person. Confidence is similar to building a muscle. You work on it each day, you practice, and eventually it becomes second nature. The threat is waiting for confidence in order to act. If you continue to tell yourself, I will speak up when I'm more confident, or I will pursue my dream once I'm ready, you'll remain frozen forever. Confidence doesn't precede action. It results from action. Why self-belief matters more than approval. Another trap that people fall into is placing their trust in the way other people think about them. This creates flimsy confidence that crumbles the moment someone criticizes you. Confidence really needs to be internalized. It becomes stronger once you stop seeking approval and start living based on your own values. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and what matters most to you, no one can ever take that away. No one will tear you down with criticism, freeze you out with rejection, or rob you of joy with comparison. Practical step: the Confidence Journal. To begin this journey, start small. Every day, write down one thing you did that required courage, no matter how small. It could be standing up in a meeting, greeting a new person, or even making a decision without over-analysis. Over time, these small victories accumulate and remind you that you are capable of so much more than you think. Chapter 2. The Daily Habits That Shape Confidence. Confidence doesn't grow by accident. It's the direct result of what you do every single day, just like your physical health depends on your habits. What you eat, how you move, and how you rest. Your confidence is shaped by the small repeated actions you take for your mind and spirit. If Chapter 1 was about understanding the foundations of confidence, this chapter is about building the structure. We'll explore the daily habits that allow confidence to become part of your identity, not just a temporary boost. The power of small wins. Confidence grows through consistency, not through one-time bursts of bravery. Too often people think they need to achieve something massive before they can feel confident. They believe confidence comes after landing a big job, after giving a perfect speech, or after being recognized by others. But in reality, confidence is built brick by brick, through small wins repeated daily. When you choose to take small, courageous actions, speaking up in a meeting, completing a difficult workout, or saying no when you need to, you train your mind to trust yourself. Each win says, I keep my promises. I can rely on me. Over time, this builds an unshakable foundation. Morning rituals for confidence. How you begin your day often determines how you move through it. Confident people don't stumble into their mornings. They create routines that set them up for clarity and focus. A morning ritual doesn't have to be complicated, but it must be intentional. Consider these practices. Affirmations grounded in action. Instead of vague affirmations like I am confident, use action-based statements. I take action even when I feel nervous. This shifts your mind into motion. Visualization. Picture yourself handling a challenge with calmness and strength. Visualizing success programs your brain to respond with confidence when the real moment comes. Movement. Exercise, even light stretching, signals energy and control to both your body and your mind. A confident posture begins with a confident body. Planning your first win. Start the day by completing one meaningful task. It could be journaling, reading, or finishing a small work project. That first victory creates momentum. Mastering body language. Confidence isn't only in your thoughts, it shows up in your body. Before you even speak, your posture, gestures, and eye contact send a message to the world. If your shoulders are slouched, your arms crossed, and your eyes fixed on the floor, you're telling both yourself and others that you lack confidence. Simple shifts make a massive difference. Stand tall with your shoulders back. Make eye contact without staring. Use open, expansive gestures. Practice speaking with a calm, steady tone. These small adjustments rewire your brain. By practicing confident body language, you don't just appear confident, you begin to feel it. The confidence action loop. One of the most important truths to understand is this: action creates confidence, and confidence creates more action. This is the confidence action loop. The cycle looks like this. You take a small action, even while nervous. That action builds evidence that you are capable. This evidence strengthens your confidence. Increased confidence makes you take bigger actions. Over time, the loop builds momentum, turning small steps into big leaps. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel confident before acting, but the loop only starts when you take action first. Silencing the inner critic. Daily habits aren't only about what you do externally, they're also about how you speak to yourself. Your inner voice is either your biggest ally or your loudest enemy. If your self-talk is filled with criticism, "I'll fail, I'm not good enough, people will laugh at me," your confidence shrinks before you even begin. To reshape this, practice, catch the thought. When you notice a harsh inner voice, stop it immediately. Challenge it. Ask, is this thought fact or fear? Change it. Replace it with a statement rooted in action, like, "I may be nervous, but I will try anyway." The more you do this, the less power your inner critic has over you. The role of environment. Confidence doesn't grow in toxic soil. If you're surrounded by negativity, people who constantly doubt you, criticize you, or belittle your dreams, it will choke your self-belief. Your environment must support your growth. That doesn't mean cutting everyone out of your life. It means intentionally choosing who and what you give your energy to. Spend time with people who challenge you to rise higher, who encourage your progress, and who reflect confidence back to you. Fill your mind with books, podcasts, and mentors who expand your perspective. Your environment is like the air you breathe. You can't see it, but it affects everything. Daily reflection. Building confidence by tracking progress. Confidence grows when you can see how far you've come. A simple way to do this is through daily reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what's one thing I did today that took courage? What did I learn about myself? What small step can I take tomorrow? By writing this down, you create a record of progress. Over weeks and months, you'll look back and realize how much stronger and more confident you've become. Not because of one big moment, but because of daily choices. Chapter 3. Overcoming fear and doubt. If daily habits are the bricks of confidence, then fear and doubt are the storms that threaten to tear it down. Everyone faces fear. Everyone hears doubt. The difference between those who thrive and those who stay stuck is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward anyway. In this chapter, we'll dive into how fear and doubt operate in your mind, and more importantly, how you can conquer them to keep building unstoppable confidence. The root of fear. Most fear isn't about real danger. It's about imagined outcomes. Your brain is wired for survival, so it often exaggerates risks to keep you safe. That's why fear shows up as fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of not being good enough. But the reality is this: 99% of the fears you carry never actually happen. They're illusions that keep you from acting. When you see fear for what it really is, a mental projection, you begin to take its power away. The doubt trap. Doubt is sneaky. It whispers things like, "You're not ready yet. Other people are better than you." Unlike fear, which can feel overwhelming, doubt disguises itself as logic. It makes excuses sound reasonable. But doubt isn't truth. Doubt is hesitation, and hesitation is the enemy of confidence. The longer you hesitate, the more power fear gains. Reframing failure as fuel. One of the biggest confidence killers is the belief that failure means you're not good enough. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every confident person you admire has failed. Often many times. They didn't become confident because they avoided mistakes. They became confident because they learned to rise after falling. Start asking yourself, what did I learn instead of why did I fail? This single shift turns fear of failure into fuel for growth. The exposure method. Facing fear gradually. Confidence doesn't grow by hiding from fear. It grows by exposure, facing what scares you step by step. This method is simple but powerful. List your fears. Write down what situations trigger fear or doubt. Break them into small steps. Instead of tackling the biggest fear immediately, start with manageable actions. Afraid of public speaking? Begin by speaking up in a small group. Afraid of rejection? Practice starting conversations with strangers. Repeat exposure. Each time you face a fear, the intensity shrinks. Your brain learns, this isn't as dangerous as I thought. Celebrate wins. Even the smallest act of courage deserves recognition. Over time, what once terrified you becomes something you handle with ease. Visualization. Practicing choreos in your mind. Your brain struggles to distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. That's why visualization is so powerful. By repeatedly picturing yourself facing fear successfully, you train your mind to respond with confidence in the real situation. For example, imagine walking into a meeting with calm posture and steady voice. Visualize yourself answering tough questions with clarity. Picture yourself trying, failing, and then trying again with resilience. The more you rehearse confidence mentally, the more natural it becomes physically. The role of preparation. Many fears stem from uncertainty. When you don't feel prepared, your brain magnifies the risk. Preparation builds certainty, and certainty breeds confidence. If you fear public speaking, rehearse your speech multiple times. If you fear interviews, practice answering tough questions with a friend. If you fear starting a project, break it into smaller, specific tasks. Preparation won't eliminate fear entirely, but it will shrink it enough for you to act. Shifting from what if to even if. Fear lives in what if questions. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if I'm not good enough? Confidence lives in even if statements. Even if I fail, I'll learn. Even if they reject me, I'll grow. Even if I stumble, I'll stand back up. When you shift from what if to even if, fear loses its grip. You stop waiting for certainty and start trusting your ability to handle uncertainty. The courage to act imperfectly. Many people let fear control them because they want their first attempt to be perfect. But confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from progress. The key is to act while imperfect. Even if your voice shakes. Try even if you're unsure. Step forward. Even if you don't have all the answers. Each imperfect action becomes proof that you're stronger than your fear. And each proof compounds into lasting confidence. Practical exercise for Chapter 3. Write down one fear or doubt that has been holding you back. Break it into one small step you can face this week. After you do it, write down what happened, and notice how your fear shrinks. Repeat this process with new fears. Over time, you'll discover that confidence isn't built by avoiding fear. It's built by walking through it. Chapter 4. Building self-trust through discipline. Confidence without self-trust is fragile. It may last for a moment, but it collapses the first time you face resistance. To be truly unshakable, you must trust yourself completely. Trust that you will follow through, trust that you will act even when it's hard, and trust that you won't betray your own goals. This chapter focuses on building self-trust through the power of discipline, because without discipline, confidence is just wishful thinking. Why self-trust matters. Think of the people in your life. Whom do you trust most? Probably those who consistently do what they say they'll do. They don't promise everything, but when they commit, you know they'll deliver. Now flip the question. Can you say the same about yourself? Do you keep promises to yourself with the same seriousness you keep them for others? Or do you break your word when no one else is watching? Confidence grows when you become someone you can rely on. Every time you do what you said you'd do, especially when it's uncomfortable, you reinforce the belief, I can trust myself. Discipline as the bridge between goals and reality. Every person has dreams. The difference between dreamers and achievers is discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and action, between desire and results. Without discipline, motivation fades. Without discipline, Goals remain distant. Without discipline, confidence never becomes solid. When you train yourself to follow through, even in small ways, you're building unshakable self-trust. That trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Micro-commitments that build strength. The mistake most people make when working on discipline is aiming too high too fast. They set goals that are overwhelming, then quit when they fail to meet them. Real discipline starts with micro-commitments, tiny promises that are almost too small to break. Examples: drinking 1 extra glass of water daily, writing for 5 minutes instead of an hour, doing 2 push-ups instead of a full workout. These micro-commitments seem small, but they matter. Each time you follow through, you're sending your brain a signal. I am consistent, I am reliable, I keep my word. Over time, the promises can grow bigger, but the trust you've built remains unshakable. The role of self-discipline in confidence. Self-discipline isn't about punishment, it's about freedom. When you're disciplined, you free yourself from being controlled by emotion. You free yourself from procrastination and regret. You free yourself from the chaos of inconsistency. Imagine 2 people. One constantly battles self-doubt because they never finish what they start. The other moves forward with calm assurance because they trust themselves to follow through. The difference isn't talent, it's discipline. Breaking the cycle of broken promises. Many people struggle with confidence because they have a long history of broken promises to themselves. They've said they'd wake up early, but they hit snooze. They've said they'd save money, but they spent it. They've said they'd take action, but they hesitated. Each broken promise chips away at self-trust. The only way to break the cycle is to rebuild, one promise at a time. Don't start with huge commitments. Start small. Prove to yourself that you can follow through, then grow from there. Accountability, a hidden confidence builder. Sometimes the fastest way to build discipline is to bring accountability into the picture. Share your commitments with someone you respect, not to seek validation, but to create a layer of responsibility. Tell a friend you'll complete a project by Friday. Join a group where people track progress together. Hire a mentor or coach who will hold you accountable. Accountability sharpens discipline, and discipline strengthens self-trust. With each follow-through, your confidence grows. Balancing flexibility and discipline. True discipline doesn't mean being rigid. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances will shift. Discipline means adapting without abandoning your promises. For example, if you planned a 30-minute workout but only have 10 minutes, do the 10 minutes. If you aim to write a full page, but can only manage a paragraph, write the paragraph. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. By staying flexible while still following through, you reinforce self-trust without burning out. Practical exercise for Chapter 4. Choose one micro-commitment that's meaningful but small, like waking up 10 minutes earlier, or drinking more water. Commit to it for 7 consecutive days. Track your progress daily. At the end of the week, reflect. Did I keep my word? This simple act begins the process of rebuilding or strengthening self-trust. Chapter 5. The power of daily habits in confidence building. Confidence isn't something you wake up with one morning and simply have. It is the natural outcome of what you repeatedly do, think and focus on. And nothing shapes your confidence more than your daily habits. Habits determine the way you carry yourself, how you respond to challenges, and whether you feel in control of your life or at the mercy of it. If discipline from Chapter 4 lays the foundation of self-trust, then habits are the bricks and cement that build the structure of unstoppable confidence. Why habits matter more than motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other days you can barely drag yourself out of bed. If your confidence depends on motivation, you'll always feel unstable. Habits solve this problem. Habits make action automatic. When you turn key behaviors into habits, You no longer waste mental energy deciding whether or not to act. You simply do it, and each completed habit reinforces confidence. Consider this. A person who flosses daily doesn't need to feel motivated to do it. It's automatic. A runner who has trained for years doesn't negotiate with themselves. They just lace up and go. A confident speaker doesn't prepare in panic. They've built daily habits of reading, writing and practicing communication. When you have the right habits, confidence becomes second nature. The science of habit and identity. Habits don't just change what you do. They change who you believe you are. This is the hidden secret to long-lasting confidence. For example, if you consistently write daily, you stop saying "I'm trying to write." You start believing "I am a writer." If you work out consistently, you stop saying "I'm trying to get fit." You begin to see yourself as a healthy, disciplined person. If you follow through on commitments, you stop calling yourself unreliable and start calling yourself trustworthy. Confidence grows when your identity aligns with your actions. Habits are the bridge to this alignment. Small habits, big confidence. A common misconception is that habits must be huge to matter. In reality, small, consistent habits create the biggest transformations. Why? Because small habits are sustainable. They're easy to stick with, and over time they compound, like a snowball rolling downhill. Small actions gather momentum and create massive results. Examples of small but powerful confidence-building habits: writing down 3 wins at the end of each day, standing tall with good posture, even when you don't feel confident, speaking slowly and clearly in conversations instead of rushing, practicing gratitude in the morning to train your mind toward positivity, reading 5 pages of a personal growth book daily. These actions might seem minor, but when repeated, they become identity-shaping behaviors that fuel lasting confidence. The confidence-killing habits to avoid. Just as habits can build confidence, the wrong ones can destroy it. Every day, millions of people unknowingly sabotage their self-belief through destructive patterns. Here are some common habits that erode confidence. A negative self-talk. Constantly repeating phrases like "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail." Procrastination. Putting things off until the last moment and reinforcing the belief that you're unreliable. Overconsumption of social media. Comparing yourself to others and drowning in highlight reel. Neglecting self-care. Ignoring your health, rest and appearance, which subtly signals to your brain that you don't value yourself. Avoiding these destructive habits is just as important as building empowering ones. The power of morning routines. Morning habits are especially powerful because they set the tone for the entire day. Think of your morning as a launch pad. If you start strong, you create momentum. If you start weak, you spend the rest of the day trying to recover. A confidence-boosting morning routine doesn't need to be long or complicated. Even 20-30 minutes can completely shift your mindset. For example, hydrate immediately. Signals energy and clarity. Move your body. Stretch, exercise or walk to activate strength. Affirm your identity. Speak words that remind you who you're becoming. Visualize success. Picture yourself achieving the goals of the day. Tackle a small win first. Something as simple as making your bed or finishing a task builds early momentum. These small steps train your brain to expect success, and that expectation builds confidence. Evening routines. The overlooked secret. While mornings are powerful, evenings matter just as much. What you do before bed directly influences your self-image and sets the stage for tomorrow. Key evening habits for confidence. Reflect on wins. End the day by acknowledging what went well. Plan tomorrow. Write down your top priorities, so you wake up with clarity. Detach from negativity. Avoid doom scrolling or toxic content before sleep. Wind down with calm. Deep breathing, reading, or gratitude journaling signals peace. Evening habits ensure you go to bed with a clear mind instead of stress and doubt. The compound effect of habits on confidence. Confidence is rarely built from one massive action. It's built from the compound effect of daily habits stacking up over time. Just as savings grow with consistent deposits, confidence grows with consistent habits. The key is to recognize that every small habit is either a deposit into your confidence bank or a withdrawal. Every action counts. Each time you keep a promise, you deposit. Each time you procrastinate or give up, you withdraw. Each time you care for your health, you deposit. Each time you indulge in destructive patterns, you withdraw. Confidence is simply the balance of your daily deposits. Practical exercise for Chapter 5. Identify 3 habits that are sabotaging your confidence. Replace one destructive habit with one empowering habit. This week, commit to tracking your progress for the next 30 days. Over time, the shift will not just change your routine. It will reshape your identity and your confidence. Chapter 6. Mastering the Inner Voice. Reprogramming self-talk for lasting confidence. Confidence is not only about what you do, it is deeply influenced by what you say to yourself when no one else is listening. The inner dialogue running through your mind 24/7 can either be your greatest ally or your most destructive enemy. Think about it. The words you silently repeat shape your beliefs, your emotions, and your actions. If your self-talk is critical, harsh, or doubtful, no external success will ever feel enough. On the other hand, if your self-talk is empowering, supportive, and constructive, you will carry yourself with an unshakable presence no matter what life throws at you. This chapter is about mastering your inner voice, because confidence begins in the mind before it shows up in the world. The hidden power of self-talk. Most people underestimate just how much self-talk shapes their lives. Psychologists estimate that humans have around 60,000, 80,000 thoughts per day, and a huge portion of these are repetitive and unconscious. If the majority of those thoughts are negative, it's no surprise that self-doubt, fear, and insecurity take over. Imagine 2 people facing the same challenge. Avash, one says internally, "I've handled worse before. I can figure this out." The other says, "I'll probably fail. I never get this right." The outcome for these 2 individuals will be radically different, not because of talent or resources, but because of self-talk. Confidence is, at its core, the habit of speaking to yourself in ways that create power, resilience, and belief. Where negative self-talk comes from. To change your inner voice, you first have to understand it. Most negative self-talk doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes from years of conditioning. Childhood messages, critical parents, teachers, or authority figures may have planted seeds of doubt, comparisons, growing up feeling less than others in appearance, skill, or achievement, past failures, mistakes that became personal labels, like "I'm not smart" or "I'm always awkward." Society and media, constant exposure to unrealistic standards of success, beauty, and achievement. Your current inner voice may not even be yours. It may be an echo of someone else's judgments. Recognizing this truth is the first step to reclaiming your confidence. The 3 types of negative self-talk: the critic, harsh, judgmental, and unforgiving. You're not good enough. The victim, helpless, hopeless, and powerless. Why bother trying? Nothing works for me. The perfectionist, demanding, anxious, and never satisfied. If it's not perfect, you've failed. Each of these voices kills confidence in a unique way. Left unchecked, they become the mental soundtrack of your life. How to reprogram your inner voice. Step 1. Awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. Begin by catching your inner dialogue in real time. Journaling is powerful here. Write down recurring thoughts that drain your confidence. For example, "I always mess up. I'm not interesting enough to speak up. People will judge me if I try." Awareness turns the unconscious into the conscious. Step 2. Question the voice. Not every thought is true. Most aren't. Challenge negative self-talk with questions like, "Is this fact or just fear?" Would I say this to a close friend? What evidence do I have that this belief is accurate? This weakens the authority of the critic, victim, and perfectionist. Step 3. Reframe the message. Replace destructive self-talk with constructive alternatives. This isn't about lying to yourself, it's about shifting perspective. Examples. And Ted of I always fail. Say I'm still learning. And every attempt makes me better. Instead of I'm terrible at speaking. Say I'm improving every time I practice. Instead of I'll never succeed. Say I haven't succeeded yet, but I'm getting closer. Reframing is like reprogramming software. The more you practice, the stronger the new code becomes. Step 4. Install daily affirmations. Affirmations may sound cliché, but they are powerful when aligned with action. They are intentional self-talk, designed to shift identity. Effective affirmations are present tense. I am calm and confident under pressure. Positive. Focus on what you want, not what you don't. Identity-based. Affirm who you are, not just what you do. Examples for confidence. I trust myself to handle anything. I speak with clarity and strength. I am becoming more confident every day. Say them aloud. Write them down. And visualize yourself living them. Step 5. Anchor positive self-talk in action. Words alone aren't enough. You must link them with behavior. When you act in alignment with positive self-talk, the belief cements itself. For example, say I am disciplined, then follow through on your commitments. Say I am confident, then speak up in the meeting, even briefly. Say I can handle challenges, then face the small discomforts instead of running away. Confidence grows when thoughts and actions reinforce each other. The role of visualization. Visualization is guided self-talk turned into mental rehearsal. Studies show that when athletes visualize themselves performing, their brains activate the same neural pathways as if they were physically practicing. For confidence, visualization works the same way. Before entering a presentation, a conversation, or a challenge, close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding. Imagine the calm in your voice, the relaxed posture, the strong delivery. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between real and vividly imagined experience. Rehearsing success makes it more likely to happen. Guarding your mind from toxic input. Even if you practice positive self-talk, your progress will collapse if you constantly consume negativity. The inputs you allow into your mind, media, conversations, environments, become part of your inner voice. To protect your confidence, limit exposure to toxic people who drain your energy. Filter media that promotes fear, comparison, or scarcity. Surround yourself with uplifting, supportive influences. Your environment shapes your self-talk as much as your own words do. Practical exercise for Chapter 6. Write down the 3 most common negative thoughts you catch yourself repeating. For each, create one powerful reframe. Design a 2-minute morning ritual where you repeat 3 affirmations while visualizing yourself living them. Commit to linking each affirmation with a small daily action. Confidence doesn't grow from silence. It grows from choosing your words, rewriting your narrative, and speaking to yourself like someone worth believing in. Chapter 7. Building confidence through consistency and daily habits. Confidence isn't something you stumble upon. It is something you build, brick by brick, day after day. Grand gestures and motivational bursts might feel inspiring, but true unshakable confidence is forged in the small, consistent habits you repeat until they become part of who you are. This chapter is about consistency, the silent but unstoppable force behind lasting confidence. Why consistency creates confidence. Think of confidence like a muscle. If you train once with extreme intensity and then stop, you may feel sore, but you won't actually grow stronger. Real growth comes from steady, repeated effort, small actions over time, that accumulate into massive transformation. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your inner trust. Every time you show up despite fear or doubt, You reinforce your identity as someone reliable, capable, and worthy of respect. Confidence is the byproduct of following through on your habits. The identity loop. How habits shape self-belief. Most people try to build confidence by chasing results. If I lose 20 pounds, I'll feel confident. If I earn more money, I'll feel confident. If people like me, I'll feel confident. But this approach is backward. Confidence doesn't come from the result, it comes from the process. Here's how the identity loop works. Take action. You take a small step, speak up once in a meeting, exercise for 10 minutes. Evidence. Your brain records the proof that you acted. Identity. You begin to see yourself differently. I'm someone who speaks up. AKS. Belief. That new identity fuels more confidence, which leads to more action. Consistency keeps this loop alive. Without repetition, the identity doesn't stick. Micro habits that build unshakable confidence. 1. The power pose ritual. Body language shapes not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. Start each day with a confidence-boosting stance. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest open. Research shows that adopting strong postures lowers stress hormones and increases feelings of power. Do this for 2 minutes each morning. It sounds small, but over time, it rewires how you carry yourself. 2. Daily wins journal. Each evening, write down 3 small victories from the day. It could be as simple as finishing a workout, having a productive conversation, or resisting a negative thought. This trains your brain to focus on evidence of progress instead of failures. Over weeks, this builds a mental archive of proof that you are capable and growing. 3. The 5-second rule of action. Confidence thrives on action. The longer you hesitate, the more doubt creeps in. Adopt a simple rule. When you feel the urge to do something important, speak, act, decide. Count down 5. This bypasses hesitation and trains your brain to trust your instincts. 4. Morning self-dialogue. Begin your day by saying one positive, intentional statement aloud. I am prepared for today. I can handle whatever comes. I choose confidence over fear. Starting with empowering words sets the tone for consistent action. 5. Show up every day. Confidence isn't built on what you do occasionally. It's built on what you do repeatedly, even when you don't feel like it. Commit to showing up, whether for practice, preparation, or progress. The habit of showing up consistently matters more than perfect performance. The confidence consistency cycle. Here's the powerful secret. Consistency creates confidence. Confidence fuels more consistent. When you build habits that keep you showing up, even in small ways, your confidence grows automatically. And as your confidence grows, you naturally want to show up more. This cycle compounds over time, until it becomes unstoppable. The danger of inconsistency. Most people sabotage their confidence by stopping and starting. They work on themselves for a week, then give up. They try a new skill, fail once, and quit. This inconsistency doesn't just stop progress, it destroys trust in yourself. If you can't rely on your own word, how can you expect to feel confident? Breaking promises to yourself erodes self-belief. The opposite is also true. Keeping promises to yourself builds self-respect. Practical framework. The 3 C's of confidence habits. Clarity. Pick 1 or 2 habits that directly feed your confidence. Don't overwhelm yourself. Commitment. Decide to follow through daily, no matter how small the effort. Celebration. Acknowledge each small victory. Reinforcement keeps motivation alive. For example, clarity. I will practice speaking up once each day. Commitment. Even if I just share a small idea, I will not stay silent. Celebration. I'll write it down in my daily wins journal. Why small habits matter more than big bursts. Confidence doesn't come from occasional grand gestures. It comes from the boring consistency of small action. Anyone can hype themselves up once for a big presentation. But true confidence is when you feel steady in everyday situations. The meeting, the conversation, the negotiation, the challenge. The people who radiate quiet, unshakable confidence are not the ones who chase hype. They are the ones who have built a system of habits that make confidence their default state. Exercise for Chapter 7. Remember, habits don't just shape behavior, they shape identity. Every time you follow through, you're proving to yourself, I am confident, I am capable, I am consistent. Confidence is not a gift, it is the inevitable outcome of small repeated actions that align with the person you want to become. And the best part, anyone can do this, starting today. Chapter 8. Overcoming fear and doubt to unlock true confidence. Confidence is not the absence of fear or doubt. In fact, some of the most confident people in the world still feel fear before a big speech, a high-stakes meeting, or a life-changing decision. The difference is this: they do not let fear and doubt control their actions. This chapter is about learning how to confront fear, quiet the voice of doubt, and move forward anyway. Because the truth is, confidence grows, not when you avoid fear, but when you face it head-on, and prove to yourself that you can survive it. The nature of fear and doubt. Fear is a natural survival mechanism. It evolved to protect you from danger. Thousands of years ago, fear kept you alive in the face of predators or life-threatening situations. But in the modern world, fear often misfires. It shows up not when you're in danger of being attacked, but when you're about to speak in public, apply for a new role, or take a risk in business. Doubt, on the other hand, is an inner critic fueled by uncertainty. It whispers, what if I fail? What will people think? I'm not good enough. Left unchecked, fear and doubt paralyze you. They create hesitation, procrastination, and inaction. The enemies of confidence. The confidence paradox. Here's the paradox. Confidence is built by action, but fear and doubt prevent you from acting. To grow confidence, you must break this cycle by acting despite fear. Every time you step forward in fear, you weaken its grip. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you build courage. And every time you push through self-doubt, you gain proof that you are stronger than you think. The role of courage in confidence. Confidence is not about being fearless, it's about being courageous. Courage means acting, even when you're afraid. The people you admire are not immune to fear. They've simply trained themselves to keep moving. Think of the first time you learned to swim, drive a car, or speak in front of a group. Fear was there, but once you acted, fear lost its power. Over time, repeated exposure created confidence. Courage is the bridge between fear and confidence. Techniques to overcome fear and doubt. Reframe fear as excitement. Physiologically, fear and excitement feel similar. Racing heart, sweaty palms, fast breathing. The difference is interpretation. Instead of saying, I'm nervous, say I'm excited. This subtle shift turns fear into fuel. Shrink the spotlight effect. Most people fear embarrassment, assuming everyone is watching and judging them. In reality, people are focused on their own lives. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. Once you realize others are not scrutinizing you as much as you think, your fear of judgment shrinks. The 3-second rule. When doubt creeps in, and you hesitate, count down, 3, 2, 1, and act. This prevents your brain from overthinking and sabotaging your confidence. Action, even small, breaks the cycle of doubt. The sign for exposure therapy in daily life. The fastest way to reduce fear is to expose yourself to it gradually. Afraid of speaking? Start with short comments in small groups, then work your way up. Doubt your abilities at work? Volunteer for small tasks that stretch you, then progress to larger responsibilities. Fear rejection? Practice asking for small favors until no doesn't sting. Confidence grows when fear is faced, not avoided. Thus, challenge the inner critic. Doubt often takes the form of an internal voice, telling you what you can't do. Learn to question it. Is this thought a fact, or just fear? What evidence do I have that I can't succeed? What's the worst case scenario, and can I handle it? More often than not, the inner critic is exaggerated, irrational, and untrue. 6. Anchor yourself with preparation. Fear thrives in uncertainty. The antidote is preparation. If you're nervous about a presentation, rehearse it until it feels natural. If you're anxious about a negotiation, research thoroughly. Preparation turns fear into calm readiness. Fear as a teacher, not an enemy. Fear reveals where growth lies. If something scares you, it usually means it matters. Running away keeps you stagnant. Leaning in allows you to expand. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of fear? Ask, what is fear teaching me right now? Maybe it's teaching you to prepare better. Maybe it's reminding you to care about excellence. Maybe it's pointing you toward your next breakthrough. The role of resilience. Facing fear and doubt requires resilience. The ability to recover when things don't go perfectly. Because sometimes, yes, you will stumble, you might get nervous, make a mistake, or hear criticism, but resilience allows you to bounce back stronger, instead of letting one setback destroy your confidence. Every stumble survived becomes evidence of your strength, and that evidence is the foundation of lasting self-belief. Practical exercise for Chapter 8. Celebrate every action. No matter how small, it's proof you're winning against fear. Closing insight. Confidence is not the elimination of fear and doubt. It is the mastery of them. Each time you face what scares you, you grow strong. Each time you silence the inner critic, you reclaim power. And each time you act despite hesitation, you take another step toward unshakable self-belief. Chapter 9. Building confidence through consistent action. Confidence is not something you wake up with one morning. It is not a gift handed to the lucky few. It is not a single breakthrough moment that changes everything. Confidence is a skill, and like any skill, it is built, refined, and strengthened through one thing: consistent action. In this chapter, we'll explore why action is the foundation of real confidence, how consistency compounds results, and how to keep moving forward even when motivation fades. Why confidence lives in action, not thoughts. Most people wait until they feel confident before taking action. But this is backward. If you wait until fear disappears, you'll never start. If you wait until self-doubt is gone, opportunities will pass you by. The truth is, confidence comes after action, not before. Be confident about running until you've run consistently. You don't feel confident about speaking until you've spoken many times. You don't feel confident in your craft until you've practiced repeatedly. Action creates proof. Proof creates belief. Belief creates confidence. Consistency is the secret ingredient. One-off effort won't give you lasting self-belief. Consistency is what transforms small actions into unshakable confidence. Think of two people. Person A reads motivational books, sets big goals, but acts inconsistently. They take a burst of action, then stop when they lose motivation. Their confidence fluctuates. Person B builds small habits, daily, repeated actions that may not look impressive at first. Over time, those actions accumulate into skills, resilience, and confidence that doesn't fade. Confidence is built the same way muscles are built. repetition, practice, and time. Why small steps matter more than big leaps. People often think confidence is born in big moments. Standing on stage, making a big move, taking a giant risk. But confidence is usually forged in the quiet, consistent choices you make every day. Choosing to wake up early and keep your word to yourself. Making that uncomfortable phone call instead of procrastinating. Finishing a task you promised instead of leaving it half done. Each small step sends a message to your brain. I can trust myself. I do what I say I'll do. That's the bedrock of confidence. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It's strong today, weak tomorrow. If you depend on motivation to act, your confidence will rise and fall with your mood. Discipline, however, creates consistency. Discipline means you show up even when you don't feel like it. And the magic is this: once you act with discipline, confidence follows. Confidence is not the reward of inspiration. It's the byproduct of discipline. The confidence action feedback loop. Here's how confidence grows through consistent action. You take action, even if it's small. You gain experience. This gives you real data about your abilities. You build evidence. Each success, no matter how small, proves you can do more. You grow belief. Your brain starts to say, if I could do that, I can do this too. You take bigger action, which leads to bigger results and deeper confidence. The loop keeps feeding itself, but only if you keep acting. How to build consistency into your life. Start small and scale up. Don't try to change everything overnight. Confidence doesn't grow from overwhelm. It grows from steady wins. Start with one small habit, then expand. Instead of I'll speak at big events, start by voicing your opinion in meetings. Instead of I'll read 50 books this year, start with 10 pages daily. Small wins, stacked consistently, create unstoppable momentum. Anchor habits to identity. Confidence thrives when your actions align with who you believe you are. Instead of focusing only on outcomes, shift to identity. Don't just try to run, become a runner. Don't just try to read, become a reader. Don't just try to be disciplined, become a disciplined person. Once identity shifts, consistency becomes natural, and confidence becomes automatic. 3. Track progress and celebrate wins. Every action counts, but your brain needs reminders. Track your actions daily, whether it's journaling, checking boxes on a calendar, or recording milestones. Celebrate small wins. Confidence compounds when you acknowledge progress instead of dismissing it. Remove friction. Build systems. Consistency is easier when you design your environment for success. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep your phone in another room while working. Use apps or alarms to remind you of key habits. Confidence grows when action becomes automatic. The myth of perfect consistency. Many people quit because they break their streak once or twice, but consistency is not perfection. It's persistence. Missing one day doesn't erase progress. Quitting does. The key is not avoiding mistakes, but bouncing back quickly. Every time you restart, you strengthen resilience, and resilience is confidence in disguise. Practical exercise for Chapter 9. Identify one area where inconsistency hurts your confidence. Fitness, work, relationships, personal goals. Choose one tiny action you can repeat daily for the next. Anchor it to your identity. I am the kind of person who track progress and celebrate every completed day. Closing insight. Confidence is not lightning in a bottle. It's not a gift, a secret, or a lucky break. Confidence is the reward of consistent action. Every small step you take, every time you show up, even imperfectly, cements the belief that you are capable, reliable, and powerful. Over time, those small choices create an unstoppable force. Unshakable confidence built on evidence, not empty words. Chapter 10. Living as your most confident self. Confidence is not the end of the journey, it is the beginning of a new way of living. Once you've cultivated it through mindset shifts, action and discipline, the question becomes, how do you sustain confidence and live as your highest self every single day? This chapter is about integration, taking everything you've learned and weaving it into the fabric of your daily existence, so that confidence is not just something you practice, but something you are. Confidence as a way of life. Confidence isn't a mask you wear in front of others. It's not a performance. It's not bravado or arrogance. True confidence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-trust. Living as your most confident self means that you trust your ability to handle challenges, even when the outcome is uncertain. You no longer seek validation from everyone. Because you validate yourself, you make choices that align with your values, not with fear. You recognize your worth without needing to constantly prove it. When confidence becomes a way of life, it influences how you think, how you speak, how you work, and how you love. The role of self-trust. At its core, confidence is built on self-trust. If you don't trust yourself to follow through, no amount of external praise will make you feel confident. Ask yourself, do I keep the promises I make to myself? If you say you'll wake up early, do you? If you set a deadline for your work, do you respect it? If you tell yourself you'll step out of your comfort zone, do you take the leap? Confidence grows stronger every time you prove to yourself that your word has weight. Your actions must align with your intentions. Carrying confidence into relationships. Confidence doesn't only serve you individually, it transforms how you relate to others. Insecure people often seek constant approval, avoid speaking up, fear rejection or conflict. But a confident person approaches relationships differently. They communicate openly because they trust their voice matters. They set healthy boundaries without guilt. They give love freely because they aren't operating from fear of abandonment. They attract respect, not because they demand it, but because they embody it. Confidence creates stronger, more authentic connections with others. Confidence in your work and career. Professional growth is one of the clearest reflections of confidence. Those who believe in themselves, take on new challenges, speak up in meetings, and pursue opportunities others hesitate to grab. When you bring confidence to your career, you advocate for fair pay and promotions. You pursue roles that stretch your abilities. You lead others with clarity and conviction. You recover from setbacks faster, because you trust your capacity to adapt. Confidence doesn't guarantee success, but without it, success is almost impossible. Facing fear. With confidence, fear never disappears. The most confident people still feel it. The difference is in their response. The insecure person avoids fear and stays small. The confident person feels fear, but moves forward anyway. When you live confidently, fear becomes a guidepost, not a stop sign. If something scares you, it often means it's an area for growth. Confidence whispers, yes, this is uncomfortable, but you can handle it. The power of daily practices. Confidence is like a flame. You must tend to it daily. Here are powerful practices to keep it alive. Poor morning alignment. Begin each day with clarity. What do I value? What do I want to accomplish? Who do I want to be today? Positive input. Surround yourself with books, podcasts, and conversations that reinforce growth instead of feeding fear. Body language reset. Stand tall, shoulders back. Breathe deeply. The body informs the mind. Micro challenges. Do one small uncomfortable thing every day. Speak up. Ask a question or try something new. Reflection. End the day by journaling. Where did I act with confidence? Where did I shrink back? What can I improve tomorrow? These rituals aren't complicated. They're simple actions that compound into lifelong confidence. Avoiding the trap of overconfidence. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is fragile. It relies on putting others down to feel secure. True confidence is humble. It acknowledges growth is never complete. Living as your most confident self doesn't mean pretending you have all the answers. It means being secure enough to admit when you don't, and courageous enough to keep learning. Confidence thrives when you balance strength with humility. Confidence as contribution. The final stage of confidence is contribution. When you stop obsessing over your own insecurities, you free up energy to serve others. A confident teacher inspires students. A confident leader uplifts their team. A confident parent raises children who trust themselves. A confident friend provides stability and encouragement. Confidence isn't just for you. It ripples outward and changes lives. Your lifelong journey. Confidence is not a destination. There will be days you feel unstoppable, and days you question yourself. That's normal. The key is remembering, every time you act with courage, discipline, and self-trust, you are reinforcing confidence. You are not building a fragile mask. You are building a foundation of strength. Final call to action. As you step beyond this book, carry these truths with you. Confidence is built, not inherited. Action comes first. Belief follows. Discipline sustains when motivation fades. Self-trust is the unshakable core of confidence. And above all, confidence grows stronger every time you live in alignment with who you truly are. Live boldly, live authentically, live as your most confident self. Because the world needs people who are willing to stand tall, speak their truth, and pursue their highest potential without apology.